stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him is His Creator, as He is in me. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him is His Creator, as He is in me. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him is His Creator, as He is in me. Well, thank you for joining me in studying Lesson 354 in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students. We're reading from the original edition in the workbook, Lesson 354, Wednesday, December the 20th of 2023. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him is His Creator, as He is in me. And I'm forgiveness teacher from the Ozarks, Willie. I like to think of myself as Miracle Willie, since I'm studying the Miracle Book, and hopefully manifesting miracles in my life and those around me. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him is His Creator, as He is in me. My oneness with the Christ establishes me as your Son, beyond the reach of time and wholly free of every law but yours. I have no self except the Christ in me. I have no self except the Christ in me. I have no purpose but His own, and He is like His Father. Thus must I be one with you as well as Him. For who is Christ except your Son, as you created Him? And what am I except the Christ in me? We're not idols. We're not a conception, a perception, a image of ourselves. We are the Christ, the way God created us. That's our reality. And when we see that in ourselves and others, that's the birthplace of miracles. That's the letting what is not real die down and go to dust. Power of forgiveness. Okay, well, let's look at our associated reading. What am I? I am God's Son, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of His love. In me is His creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. I am the holy home of God Himself. I am the heaven where His love resides. I am His holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides His own. Our use for words is almost over now, yet in the final days of this 1 year we gave to God together, you and I, we found a single purpose that we shared, and thus you joined with me. So what I am are you as well. The truth of what we are is not for words to speak of nor describe. Yet we can realize our function here, and words can speak of this and teach it too, if we exemplify the words in us. We are the bringers of salvation. Let that kind of settle into your soul. We are the bringers of salvation. We accept our part as saviors of the world, which through our joint forgiveness is redeemed. And this our gift is therefore given us. We look on everyone as brothers, and perceive all things as kindly and as good. Can we do that? Can we just set in our mind right now ahead of time before anything even happens that we look on everyone as brothers and perceive all things as kindly and as good? That's what we want to do. We want to do that. We look on everyone as brothers and perceive all things as kindly and as good. And if we have that as our willingness to be given to us, that's the miracle that will be given to us, regardless of what you see in this world of appearances and changing form. The reality behind it all is we look on everyone as brothers and perceive all things as kindly and as good. We do not seek a function that is past the gate of heaven. Knowledge will return when we have done our part. We are concerned only with giving welcome to the truth. That little willingness is all we need to do. Give welcome to the truth, and it'll come to you. The knowledge of how it's done doesn't even need to be of concern to you. That'll come, but don't let that be the goal, and don't wait for that. The willingness. We are concerned only with giving welcome to the truth. Ours are the eyes through which Christ's vision sees a world redeemed from every thought of sin. Ours are the ears that hear the voice of God proclaim the world as sinless. Ours the minds which join together as we bless the world. And from the oneness that we have attained, we call to all our brothers, asking them to share our peace and consummate our joy. And I looked up that word consummate to see how it should be used, and put in there for consummate, complete in every detail. So let's read that sentence again. And from the oneness that we have attained, we call to all our brothers, asking them to share our peace and complete in every detail our joy. We are the holy messengers of God who speak for Him, carrying His word to everyone whom He has sent to us. We learn that it is written on our hearts, and thus our minds are changed about the aim for which we came and which we seek to serve. We bring glad tidings to the Son of God, who thought He suffered. Now is He redeemed, and as He sees the gate of heaven stand open before Him, He will enter in and disappear into the heart of God. No ego is going to stand in the presence of God. Only yourself, the Christ in you, your reality. Okay, well, let's see. We're ready for our song of prayer, which is published by the Foundation for Inner Peace, where the original version, which we've been reading through on our text and our workbook and our manual for teachers this year, was out of the original edition is a publication by A Course in Miracles Society at jcim.net, where this publication, the Song of Prayer, will be out of the Foundation for Inner Peace's version, which we'll be looking into. We'll be reading that next year. So invite your friends, send them a link, tell them to join us now, and get ready for they'll kind of get a sense of tell them to kind of just don't really necessarily try to do the lessons if they've never done them here at the end. I mean, they can. But it would probably be easier just to kind of come into it with a little bit of skepticism. Might be good if you're starting at the middle of the book and kind of look at it from, do I really believe this or not? Or, that might be a nice way to approach it, is what I'm trying to say. The book will prove itself. To me, it's a scientific literature. It is scientific literature explaining the metaphysics of oneness. So bring your friends to learn. But today we're going to be in Chapter 2, Forgiveness, of Song of Prayer. Section 3, Forgiveness for Salvation. And what's going on here on Mother Earth today? Cathode Ray Tube Day, which was invented by a Russian, and it was patented by a Russian in 1938, Vladimir Zworykin. And a cathode, that's what we use for making monitors and televisions these days. And, those have a lifespan of about 30,000 hours, which if you had it run continually, they'd be less than 4 years. So be aware. Then you've got to replace the cathode ray tube. Do Your Eyes Day. Oh, Dot Your Eyes Day. They basically pay attention to details day. Games Day. Go Caroling Day. Getting ready for Christmas? Go caroling. You know, today's the day before winter solstice. So winter solstice is Yule. Anyway, that'll be tomorrow, I think, if I calculated right. We'll talk about it tomorrow. International Human Solidarity. And, you know, there's a lot of diverse ways of living, and yet we want to see the unity of all mankind. And that is very important for Course in Miracles students, to recognize that God did not create us with divisions. Mud Day, and that's Samuel Mudd, who was a doctor that actually helped treat John Wilkes Booth after, you know, the way the story goes, after he broke his legs after jumping off the balcony and trying to escape. And he got in prison, but was pardoned later on, mainly because he was a good doctor in prison. National Fried Shrimp Day, National Sangria Day, and Sangria is a grape wine. I usually use Grenache or Pinot grapes, which are Vitis vinifera grapes. You know, a sweet wine, Sangria. Poet Laureate Day, and there are U.S. Poet Laureate currently is Ada Limon, or Limon, Limon, I expect. Sacagawea Day, and she was a Shoshone woman who was the guide for Lewis and Clark in, what year was that? 1804 through 1806. They started in St. Louis, and Sacagawea went the whole way to the Pacific with them. From St. Louis to the Pacifics. Still Los Pasodes Day, you know, the journey to Bethlehem. And let's see, and I think that, and then I'm still sitting in front of these Thuja occidentalis, which I found the name is Eastern White Cedar or Northern White Cedar, Eastern Thuja arborvita, or just arborvita, American arborvita, and Eastern arborvita. They are high in vitamin C. And I found this on Coldstream Farms, which you can buy the seedlings. Thuja occidentalis is zones 3 through 7. Mature height of the tree of life is what arborvita means. Can grow up to 40 to 50 feet with a spread of 10 to 15 feet. Slow to medium growth rate, average 13 to 24 inches per year. Soil and climate of the white cedar enjoy limestone soils, moist boggy areas, but they're tolerant of acidic and alkaline soils and generally quite adaptable and tolerant once established in full sun. Partial shade is tolerated, but plants become thin, open, and much less appealing, and does well in cold weather. White cedar is an evergreen tree with fan-like branches, scaly leaves, conical shape, dense lumber, is prized for its rot resistance, can be single or multi-trunked, has light brown or reddish brown oblong blunt-tipped cones that are 3/8 to a 1/2 inch in diameter. White cedar is commercially used for rustic fencing and posts, lumbers, poles, shingles, and in the construction of log cabins. Good for hedges, screens, and windbreaks. Place seedlings 3 feet apart for a tight hedge. The white cedar can live up to 800 years old and contains a great deal of vitamin C in its foliage. The early French explorer Cartier and his men had scurvy, and the natives in that area told them about the northern white cedar and make tea, and they recovered from their scurvy. And matter of fact, they were so impressed, they took branches back to France and ended up propagating them. And so I guess you can propagate these from the branches. Probably just bend them over and put some dirt on them and let them root and then cut them off from the mother. The early French explorer Cartier. Often browsed by deer. So deer like them, which is problematic when you get them started until they get high enough where the deer can't hurt them. You need to protect them. Cover for nesting birds, and it's set and for squirrels. And the birds and the squirrels eat the cones. Okay, well, let's see. I think we're ready. And I wanted to tell you the word for peace, since we're talking about France, is P-A-I-X, pronounced Paix. So, French for peace is Paix. Forgiveness for salvation. And, of course, we'll take our lesson with us today. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him as His Creator, as He is in me. Forgiveness for salvation. Remember, this will be opposed to the one we just finished, was forgiveness to destroy. Forgiveness for salvation has one form and only one. It does not ask for proof of innocence, nor pay of any kind. It only sees the innocent. It does not argue nor evaluate the errors that it wants to overlook. It does not offer gifts and treachery, nor promise freedom, while it asks for death. Would God deceive you? He but asks for trust and willingness to learn how to be free. He gives His teacher to whoever asks and seeks to understand the will of God. His readiness to give lies far beyond your understanding and your simple grasp. Yet He has willed you learn the way to Him, and in His willing there is certainty. 2. You child of God, the gifts of God are yours, not by your plans, but by His holy will. His voice will teach you what forgiveness is and how to give it as He wills it be. Do not then seek to understand what is beyond you yet, but let it be a way to draw you up to where the eyes of Christ become the sight you choose. Give up all else. There is nothing else. When someone calls for help in any form, He is the one to answer for you. All that you need do is to step back and not to interfere. Forgiveness for salvation is God's task, and it is He who will respond for you. Just be willing. You don't have to have the knowledge. Just be willing to let a miracle come to you. If someone calls for help, give them the help they ask for. Do not establish what the form should be that Christ's forgiveness takes. He knows the way to make of every call a help to you, as you arise in haste to go at last into your Father's house. Now can He make your footsteps sure, your words sincere, not with your own sincerity, but with His own. Let Him take charge of how you would forgive, and each occasion then will be to you another step to heaven and to peace. 4. Are you not weary of imprisonment? God did not choose this sorry path for you. What you have chosen still can be undone, for prayer is merciful and God is just. This is a justice He can understand, but you cannot as yet. Still will He give the means to you to learn of Him and know at last that condemnation is not real and makes illusions in its evil name. Again on that sentence, still will He give the means to you to learn of Him and know at last that condemnation is not real and makes illusions in its evil name. And yet it matters not the form the dreams may seem to take. Illusions are untrue. God's will is truth, and you are one with Him in will and purpose. Here all dreams are done. 5. What should I do for Him, your Holy Son? Should be the only thing you ever ask when help is needed and forgiveness sought. Again, what should I do for Him is your prayer. What should I do for Him, your Holy Son? Should be the only thing you ever ask when help is needed and forgiveness sought. The form the seeking takes, you need not judge. And let it not be you who sets the form in which forgiveness comes to save God's Son. The light of Christ in Him is His release, and it is this that answers to His call. Forgive Him as the Christ decides you should, and be His eyes through which you look on Him and speak for Him as well. He knows the need, the question, and the answer. He will say exactly what to do in words that you can understand and you can use. Do not confuse His function with yours. He is the answer. You, the one who hears. Stay in touch with the answer. 6. And what is it He speaks to you about? About salvation and the gift of peace. About the end of sin and guilt and death. About the role forgiveness has in Him. Do but listen, for he will be heard by anyone who calls upon his name and places his forgiveness in his hands. Forgiveness has been given him to teach, to save it from destruction, and to make the means for separation, sin, and death become again the holy gift of God. Prayer is his own right hand, made free to save, as true forgiveness is allowed to come from his eternal vigilance and love. Listen and learn, and do not judge. It is to God you turn to hear what you should do. His answer will be clear as morning, nor is his forgiveness what you think it is. Listen and learn, and do not judge. It is God you turn to hear what you should do. It is to God you turn to hear what you should do. His answer will be clear as morning, clear as day. After the dark and you can't quite see the morning light, you can see again, it's clear. Nor is his forgiveness what you think it is. And the last paragraph, 7, still does he know, and that should be enough. Forgiveness has a teacher who will fail in nothing. Rest a while in this. Do not attempt to judge forgiveness or to set it in an earthly frame. Let it arise to Christ, who welcomes it as gift to him. He will not leave you comfortless, nor fail to send his angels down to answer you in his holy name. You have angels hovering around to help you understand. He stands beside the door to which forgiveness is the only key. Wow, forgiveness is the only key to the door. Give it to him to use instead of you, and you will see the door swing silently open upon the shining face of Christ. Behold your brother there beyond the door, the Son of God, as he created him. That door of forgiveness, that door of letting go of illusions and letting the truth be true, the door of holiness, that the key of forgiveness opens every time. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in him as his creator as he is in me. My oneness with the Christ establishes me as your son, beyond the reach of time and wholly free of every law but yours. I have no self except the Christ in me. I have no purpose but his own, and he is like his Father. Thus must I be one with you as well as him. For who is Christ except your Son, as you created him? And what am I, except the Christ in me? Well, we've let all of our individual personality that's not according to our reality go. We want our personal reality to be the Christ that we share with everyone and with God and God alone. Okay. Do the best you can at your morning and evening quiet time, 5 or 10 minutes, more or less, and an hourly thanksgiving and a remembrance today saying, we stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in him is his creator as he is in me. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in him is his creator as he is in me. We stand together, Christ and I, and certainty We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose. And in Him is His Creator as He is in me. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him is His Creator as He is in me. And as they say in French for peace, Paix. We stand together, Christ and I, in peace and certainty of purpose, and in Him is His Creator as He is in me. Paix.